Da, 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 da. Welcome back, Degents. This is the Distinguished Degents podcast. As promised, we are live for part 2 of the UFC 300 extravaganza handicaps and predictions. This time, folks, we're going through the main card, and joining me, as always, it is my co-host, my partner in crime. It is Jason Monty Mansman in the house.
Stay tuned, folks. I got my bet of the year on this show.
Oh, my lord. Bet of the year. You sure you want to do that early?
Oh, yeah.
Are you? All right. And then, as always, this is our special guest, but this is our UFC partner. It is the one, the only, as debuted from the Harbor Discussions channel, episode 4. It is the Spaceman, Sam Celentano.
What's up, everybody?
Sam, welcome back to the show. Thanks for coming back, man.
Thanks for having me, as always. Love you guys. So it's gonna be a good night.
Hell yeah, it's going to be a good night. And we've already been hyped. And just to go through our opening remarks, some good news for you, gents. Nobody missed weight. And in 45 minutes time, everybody got on the scale. Nobody had to go back and get back on the treadmill. Everyone made weight on time, including the suspected Kayla Harrison. So everybody made weight. Everyone's good to go. It's very refreshing to see. So looks like everything's on par for UFC 300 to go well. Mansman, I'm going to start with you, though, with the good news of everyone making weight. We always do say if someone misses weight, we have to change our picks. We were worried about Kayla Harrison, and there was actually a little bit of worry from Charles DuBronx. He does have a tendency to miss weight here from time to time. But everyone looks good to go, so does your opinion change on anything now that we know that at the very least?
Oh, man. I mean, if you were rooting for Holly Holm, the fact that Kayla Harrison made weight and didn't really have to go back, that was, you were kind of, I hate to say hoping, because, like, let's be honest, like, we enjoy this, but no offense, like, I'm not looking for anybody to fucking, like, get sick, and, you know, I'm not wishing harm on anybody like that. That's just not what we do here. But, you know, it looked like Kayla Harrison made it to the weight cut pretty good, so she should be fine for the fight. So, yeah, that's kind of hurtful if you were looking for an advantage for Holly Holm.
Yeah, and I would say too, personally, for maybe for Bo Nickel, like the fact that, you know, if you were Bo Nickel's opponent and Bo Nickel obviously made weight, you know, it's like shit. That's one less obstacle you got to deal with. Oh, and especially too with like Figueiredo and Garbrandt and Aljamain Sterling, Calvin Kattar with those weight changes, it was like at least with Figueiredo we knew he could make the weight before and he's moving up, and now and with Aljamain too, but at least there was no issues there. It's a good sign. Spaceman, what are your thoughts here now that we know the weigh-ins are done? We're ready.
Yeah, I think we're in for a really good card. I think it's usually easier to make weight for a fighter that's going up than a fighter that's going down in weight class, just because you have less weight to lose. I mean, most of those guys walk around about a weight class heavier than they are, except for if you're Paddy Pimblett, because he walks around at like 200 pounds, which is freaking
try
crazy.
Like 240. Like,
yeah, dude walks around at like 250, and like I have no idea how he makes it down to lightweight. That's a modern miracle, but you know, that's another story for another day. But yeah, I was pretty confident. I saw that report that Chael Sonnen said that Charles Oliveira was having trouble making weight, and I was like, oh god, not Del Bronx.
Not
like,
again.
Please, like, for the love of God, just make the weight, and he made it. So yeah, that's definitely gonna be a banger of a fight. This main event card is gonna be really exciting. So I think we're all in the clear.
Yeah, we're all in the clear. All fights are good to go as of right now at recording, which is 7:41 Eastern Standard Time, Friday, the day before. And for those of you wondering where our prelim picks are, what are our best bets there, make sure you check out last night's episode on our YouTube channel at the Distinguished Degents Podcast. If you haven't followed our Twitter, make sure you check out the Degents Podcast, at Degents Podcast. That is our Twitter handle, X handle, whatever the fuck Elon wants to call it this month. We don't give a shit. Just make sure you check this out. We are Degents. We love sports gambling. We reside here in Maryland, but I think it's time. We've gotten through the opening remarks. Everything's good to go. We have only 5 fights this time to go through, so hopefully we have some more analytical thoughts. Hopefully we have some more insights here, and we can give the people more content, to at least say the least. But let's get into this main card. So we talked about how, we talked about how disappointing the main card was in retrospect to the prelim card. So for me personally, I think the card itself is fine, but it just seems really out of order and out of whack. Like, why is Zhang Wei Li and Yan Xiaonan, like, why are they the co-main when you have the BMF title with 2 of the fucking craziest strikers known to humankind? When you also have the Bo Nickel, which, why is he even on the main? Why am I paying to see Bo Nickel?
I'm not paying.
And Charles Oliveira being the number 2 is just beyond absurd. It's just like, I don't know if Dana like got fucked up here and just had to make it work, or if he's trying to make it so that you just stay busy, which, I don't know how smart he's being. Spaceman, like, what's the deal with this main card?
I don't really like the lineup of the main card particularly. I think all right, so let me put it this way. The fights are good. The order in which the fights are is not good. I would have rather seen Yuri Prohaska versus Alexander Rakic on the main card than Bo Nickel and Cody Brundage, because Cody Brundage is decent. I mean, he's had, I think he's like 2-2 or something in the UFC so far, or 1-1, however that goes. He's shown some promise, and he has a decent skill set. He has pretty good power. He has decent wrestling, but I mean, again, I think it's just another tomato can that Bo Nickel is going to power through. If he has the upset, that's going to be probably the upset of the whole card. If you wanted to count on upset, that's going to be it. But I don't know.
UFC history, I think Bo Nickel's the biggest favorite in UFC history.
Bo Nickel is a minus. The last time I checked, he was like a minus 2,300.
That's fucking.
I last saw minus 3,000, depending on the book.
Yeah,
and pro tips: shop around. Like, I don't advertise betting on Bo Nickel at this number, but like, that's definitely one of those fights you shop around. You find your book that gives you the best number and just go with it.
Like I was saying, I like there's some really good fights on this card. Like you guys said, I definitely like to see a co-main in Justin Gaethje versus Max Holloway. That's just going to be a crazy striking extravaganza. Or even Do Bronx versus Arman Tsarukyan. I mean, I'm not a big Arman Tsarukyan guy. I think he's kind of an a-hole, so I don't really like him that much. But he is a good fighter, and he does have good power, so he's going to be a nice challenge for Do Bronx. But yeah, I mean, I get with Weili Zhang and Yan Xiaonan, it's the first ever time that we're gonna have a bona fide Chinese champion. The first time that we have 2 Chinese fighters fighting for a title, so it's really historic. So I think as a co-main, I mean, that makes sense to put such a historic fight on this card. Obviously, I would have liked to see a third. Like, if I had been the matchmaker, I'd been Mick Maynard, I would have done everything in my power to get Leon Edwards and Bilal Muhammad fighting on this card. So that's really why I would have done differently. But, I mean, 2 title fights, technically 3 title fights if you count the BMF.
Don't do it, Sam. Don't do it.
I'm not counting the BMF as a real title, but some people like to do that, and if you like
the only title Gaethje will ever truly hold. I mean, let's be honest. It's
that's where we're at going into it. I'm definitely excited for this Jamal Hill fight. That's gonna be crazy.
I think it's all going to be crazy. Mansman, we'll let you go. I feel like you have a hot take boiling there.
The Zhang Wei Li fight, Zhao, whatever her name is, I can't pronounce his name.
Yan Xiaonan.
Yao Xiaonan. That fight just seems like out of place to me. Like, don't get me wrong. I know a lot of times the cards have the female champion, like co-main, So it's not like, oh, there shouldn't be a women's fight on the card. I'll leave that to other people who could make that. My problem is like UFC 300, it's such a hyped card. And you have like this all Chinese like co-main event that just seems like so out of place for like a big Las Vegas UFC 300 card. Like, I don't know. To me, it's, and I get what Sam's saying. Like, I appreciate what Sam's saying. But to me, I kind of think the opposite. Like, this feels like something you'd have for like Fight Island or like an international card.
Oh,
but
for like fight week, international fight week.
Yeah, but instead you're getting it for like UFC 300, this weird fight between two Chinese women's fighters. It's just that's just weird to me. And the Bo Nickel thing, like, I was listening to a show earlier that was trying to say, well, it makes sense Bo Nickel's here. They really want to feature him. No offense, he's fighting another tomato can. Like,
yeah, that's what we're saying.
That's the problem.
I've seen this before. Like, it's not going to be exciting. I've seen this.
I would even like to see him fight like Jack Hermanson. Like, that would have been a good fight for him. You know, if he's just ripping through people, give him another wrestler. And Jack Hermanson's proved that he was like a sturdy wrestler in Sweden. The fight to make is Bo Nickel versus Hamzat Chimaev, but we're not going to get that during Ramadan. So, you know what I'm saying?
We're not going to get that for a while, though, because they're building him up. They are building him up. Come on, Val Woodburn and Jamie Pickett, the first two fights. Come on.
Now, to be fair, let me be fair with this one point. Val Woodburn was a last-minute step in. He was a regional guy. Like he wasn't supposed to be there.
Who was he going to fight before? Oh, nobody good.
I mean, I get it. I get the sentiment. But, and I'm with you guys. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, why are we paying to see Bo Nickel? Like, that, it just seems so wrong when you have, like, literally, fucking Yuri Prohashka and the fucking return of Rocket Rakic. Like the fact we're getting that for free is fucking outstanding, and that makes me want to just watch the prelims anymore. But like, if I had to buy $80 pay-per-view in America, and the first fight is Bo Nickel versus a guy who's 10-5, like, doesn't it give you just some hesitation, and it makes you wonder why the fuck people are going online and streaming the shit for free? Like, no offense to Bo Nickel, like, he's phenomenal, he's gonna be a star, but they're bringing him up like they are fucking Sean O'Malley. They're giving him tomato cans to basically beat up on until they actually give him some real competition. Right. Which, luckily for Sean, he was able to beat most of that competition, or at least get the victory. Maybe not beat, per se, but, you know, you get that, and then the next fight, it's like, come on, we really don't want to see Bo Nickel. We want to see Charles DuBronx and Armin Sarukian. Like, we're really waiting.
It's kind of Bo Nickel's fault, because wasn't he like, oh, I only fight on pay-per-views?
But he doesn't.
Well, that's fine. I don't care that. That's fine, but, like, Dana, like, needs to give him a better opponent. Like, to make it worthwhile, like, as far as, like,
you want to fight on pay-per-view, start fighting. No offense, you can't have it both ways. Like, you're fighting fight night opponents, but you want to be on pay-per-view. Like, no.
I mean,
like, honestly, think of it this way. Each fight is $16. If you're paying $80 a pay-per-view for 5 fights, each fight you're paying for is $16.
Right.
Which, if you're a gambler, that means you have to bet like $16 per fight just to potentially get your money back.
That's
you really
crazy.
think that like putting $16 on Bo Nickel is like worth any of your effort and time? Or even $80 or $100? We're gonna get into that real shortly here, but it's just like, at least if it's Yuri versus Rakic, you're just like, wait a minute, like, this actually could go either way. This is worth paying for. Yeah. I don't want to spend $16, let alone $80, to watch Bo Nickel tap a guy in 1 minute. Like, it's absurd.
Yeah, we already know the outcome of the fight is predetermined, basically. Even him versus Marvin Vettori would have been a great fight, because if you're trying to fast track him to the title, you know, they fast track Poatan because Poatan's a straight up killer and he's approved. But the difference between him and Bo Nickel is that he's a proven champion. He was a 2-weight champion in Glory, and Glory is just full of killers. Like the whole.
Well, and Poatan too, with all due respect, like with Poatan, he was a kickboxing champion. Yeah, he fucked up Izzy twice. He was like, and I brought this up before, like in another, like, Sam, I don't know if you saw my like 20-minute rant about fucking Biggie Boy Rosenstrike versus like in his main event. Dana needs to stop like this bullshit where like every up and comer is worth being a main event.
Right.
Because like
right.
these guys
Agreed.
can't hold their own weight.
You're talking about
And that's
when
the
he was
same shit
fighting
with Bo Nickel.
Gaziv? Are you talking about when he was fighting Shamil Gaziv?
Yeah, like Shamil
Yeah,
Gaziv, like his career's ruined.
Yeah,
His career's ruined because of that fight.
He folded.
It's disrespectful.
Like because he was fighting Rosenstruck, he just, bro, he was gassed by like round 2. Round 3, it was a foregone conclusion that he was going to lose that fight, and then going into the 4th round, it was just.
That was one of Big Bucks. Big Bucks had a rant for the ages for that one. That was funny. That shit was hilarious.
Just tell me where in the world, in any fighting promotion, having your arms down, face presented, just like right in his face, like tell me where that works. Tell me where that gets you a fucking victory in any
you
fucking
remember
kickboxer like Jairzinho Rosenstruck? Good luck.
Sam, you remember World Series of Fighting? Because he looks like a guy you'd see on World Series of Fighting. Like, I'm telling you. It's so fucking
He looks like
bad.
one of those old Strike Force guys. Like not even
because Strike Force was good. Like
yeah, Strike Force was good, but Strike Force had some tomato cans towards the end. I'm talking about like 2014 Strike Force, like 2015 Strike Force.
Oh, the dark
like right
ages,
before they folded. Yeah, so
that should have been a mortgage bet, like really. and there's a mortgage bet on this card. I'm telling you.
Oh my
bet
lord!
on this card that is gold.
All right, let's do this. Let's do this, guys. So we've already pretty much talked about this. I think you guys know where we're going with this, but we have to introduce it. We have to go through the formalities.
Yeah.
Middleweight fight to open up the main card. It's Bo Nickel going up against Cody Brundage. Brundage is 10-5. He's currently a plus 900 underdog. Bo Nickel is sitting at a minus 1600 on DraftKings.
Wow.
Bo Nickel 2-0 in the UFC. He's 2-0 in Dana White's Contender Series. Cody Brundage 4-4 UFC. He's 0-1 Dana White's Contender Series, so doesn't look good for him thus far. Brundage has 8 finishes under his belt, 5 knockouts. Bo Nickel 2 knockouts, 3 submissions in his MMA career, all of which ending in the first round. The over-under is set at over-under 1.5. Last fights, both of them are coming off knockout wins. Bo Nickel knocked out Val Woodburn in literally 38 seconds. Cody Brundage got a slam to elbow knockout versus Zach Reese in his last fight. Bo Nickel, I'm not even going to go into betting trends because I think that's just getting ridiculous here. But Cody Brundage, 4-3 is an underdog in his MMA career, but he has won 2 straight. Let's start with Mansman this time around. I think we started with Sam the last episode. Let's go with Mansman. Like, let's hear what your take is. I mean, I don't know if we need to go further in depth, but what's your betting angle here?
Play your unders, folks. Play your Bo Nickel first round victories. I mean, I heard a great handicap from someone today. It was like, Bo Nickel, if you're a guy who hasn't really been in a lot of like you haven't gotten punched a lot, if you have the ability, you just want to get out of there as quick as you can. And Bo Nickel's a guy who just gets people out of there quick. Like, this is just going to be another quick fight. Like, why is he even... Think about it. Does Cody Brundage pose any threat to Bo Nickel at all? No. So, if I'm Bo Nickel, what am I going to do? I'm going to grapple him immediately. I'm going to get on top, and then I'm going to choke him out. Because why fuck around? So that's what I think is going to happen. It's going to be a quick finish. Maybe Bo Nickel. I mean, it's hard because I don't see Bo Nickel getting a knockout again. I think that was kind of, no offense, you're fighting a guy who has no business being in the UFC, like, at all. So maybe Bo Nickel submission, Bo Nickel early win, but I'm not betting this fight. Like, it's just stupid. I mean, who knows? Maybe he tries to fight for 3 rounds so he gets a bonus. Like, I don't know. This stupid fight.
One last thing. I didn't mention this earlier, but let me bring it up. Uncle Dana, in his generosity for UFC 300, has decided bump up the fight of the night bonuses from $50,000 to, I shit you not, $300,000. With that said, fight of the night bonuses you would think are always knockouts. But last time around, he got one against Val Woodburn. Probably should have got one the first time around, too, when he got that submission. And with that said, I know Mansman had a mortgage bet. I don't have a mortgage bet, but I do have a best bet, and I just think this is too easy. Mansman hit the points. Best bet, Bo Nickel by submission in the first round. You can get it at plus money right now, plus 110.
Wow, that's kind of nuts. Kind of crazy.
I mean, you brought up the point, so I don't know if I want to go too much into that, but like, really, if you're going to play this fight, you need to play Bo Nickel first round finish. How? And you can't do the double chance finish. I mean, maybe you could try a same game parlay in DraftKings where it's, under 1.5 Bo Nickel, but I don't think you're going to get good odds. The fact of the matter is he going to knock him out, or is it going to be a quick submission? And I feel like people in general just tie fight of the night with like a 3-round banger where it's back and forth and everybody gets clocked. Like Gagey versus Michael Chandler, where it was a hell of a fight for 3 rounds, and not that it could have went either way, but everybody put in heart. I think Bo Nickel, if he gets this guy out in 2 minutes on the ground, like, he's looking at the same odds here. And this is a Cody Brundage who, let's be honest, loves to scrap on the feet compared to going on the ground and wrestle. Brundage, he's gotten 1 submission win in his life. He's lost twice on the ground. Most recently, he got choked in an arm triangle by Rodolfo Vieira. So... And he has his own submission wins, too. So it's like, it's not that he's afraid of it. But I think if you're a Bo Nickel, it's like, you had a Val Woodburn who's only known for the standing game. You knew he was going to come at you early. So it was, okay, how do I counter? Yeah. You did the counter. You won in 38 seconds. Cody Brundage is a guy that I think if you're Bo Nickel, it's like, I don't know if I want to stand up on the feet the whole time with him. He kind of knows what he's doing. He's done this before. He's knocked people out before. I don't know if I want to, like, lose in that fashion. If I'm Bo Nickel, I'd rather lose on the ground. And even if he gets clipped early on, Bo Nickel's grabbing at the ankles, trying to fucking survive and take it to the floor. So, and in that aspect, I'm taking Bo Nickel anyway. So,
I think he goes for a takedown first 15 seconds of the fight. Like, he's not going to fuck around.
No. So, Bo Nickel, I'm getting plus money, first round submission. I'll take it. Best bet on the card, like, as far as like value and odds. Like, if I'm gonna play this, like, I'll throw 5 units on this, no problem.
So I think that Cody Brundage, with his skill set, presents a lot of problems for Bo Nickel that his other opponents didn't really present, especially because Cody Brundage is going to be more aggressive than Jamie Pickett or Val Woodburn. Val Woodburn was a little too aggressive, and that's why he got knocked out super fast. And Jamie Pickett is just known for being pretty passive, so he didn't really put up any resistance at all. I do think that Bo Nickel, his game plan is going to be to come out, take Brundage down and choke him out in the first, 30 seconds. And I don't think Cody Brundage has the takedown defense to be able to really keep himself in the fight long enough to give himself a chance to beat Bo Nickel. So while I do think Cody Brundage probably has the best chance of anyone who's ever fought Bo Nickel to beat him, that looms as a possibility. And if he does beat him, it's probably going to be by knockout, because I don't really think that Bo Nickel has a chin. His chin has never been tested. So I think if Cody Brundage is able to land some good shots, he does have a chance of winning this fight. But I'm going to go with the safe pick and pick Bo Nickel by first round submission. So that's the way I see this fight. I think Cody Brundage can win. Do I think he's going to win? No, I don't. And
to give credit where credit's due, so there was another gambling podcast I listened to. They literally spent that fight saying, like, what's the path to victory for Cody Brundage? And Spaceman's on the ball here. The only way Cody Brundage, And the idea is that Bo Nickel, because it's UFC 300, because he's been getting a lot of shit for fighting tomato cans. Like, is this the fight where he decides, I'm just going to try and make a statement. I'm going to fucking try and make this last a little bit. I want to get this $300,000 bonus.
Look,
is he going to be stupid? Is he going to be stupid with his fight IQ all of a sudden?
Right. If it goes
for
past
me,
the
I
first
just don't
round,
see
he's
that.
not winning. If it goes past the first round, Bo Nickel is not winning this fight. He's gonna have to win it in the first round, or he's not gonna win it at all.
Well, I think the question, I will caution you there, because the question's going to be, does Cody Brundage just sort of survive on his back for 15 minutes? Like, I don't think he will, but
Yeah.
we've seen that
No.
before, where a guy's just like surviving for 15 minutes.
So
I don't think he's doing that either.
So the pro tip I heard was like, if you really want to take a shot, like if you're gonna pull, like as I dubbed the neighbor Miguel. Neighbor Miguel never gambled before in his life, just sees the big money and says, fuck it, a bet's a bet. If you're a bet on Cody Brundage, you don't do it on the money line, you do it by knockout. Because again, what's the path to victory?
Mm-hmm.
He's not winning a decision. He's not choking out Bo Nickel or breaking his ankle. The only way he's going to do this is by knockout, and you can get that 16-1 right now on DraftKings. So if you're going to bet it,
maybe
bet
Bo
the big
Nickel
number.
goes in for a takedown and does what? Who was that guy? The guy who knocked himself out going in for a takedown.
Oh, fucking Petrosky, that dickhead. Cost me my fucking. He cost me my goddamn underdog parlay. That dickhead.
I had Petrosky too, and he knocked himself out on a fucking takedown. Fucking guy.
Cocksucker.
What a moron. Jeez.
God damn, that pissed me off so much. I was so mad.
I forgot about that. That was so bad.
Leg one of the underdog parlay, Andre Petrosky knocks himself out going for a takedown. Fucking dickhead.
Oh,
God. Okay. So we're all in unison. It's either Cody Brundage by knockout, but let's be real, it's Bo Nickel first round submission. All right, moving on. It's the second fight of the main card. It is lightweight bout, arguably for the number one contender spot. It is the number one ranked lightweight Charles "Do Bronx" Oliveira going up against the up and coming Arman Tsarukyan, number 4 ranked lightweight. Tsarukyan is 21-3, 8-2 UFC record, minus 255 favorite. Charles "Do Bronx" is an underdog, plus 185, a 34-9 record, 22-9, one no contest in the UFC, so I did forget the one no contest, but my apologies. Over-under also set at 1.5 rounds. "Do Bronx" has 31 finishes under his belt, 21 of them by submission. Tsarukyan has 14, 9 of them also by submission. Both of them are coming off of first-round knockouts against Beneil Dariush. And as far as betting trends go, Tsarukyan is 8-1 as a betting favorite. "Do Bronx" is 8-4 as an underdog, but he has gone 5-1 since 2020. Mansman was first. Sam, it's your turn.
All right.
This is one of the big fights. What do you got?
I'm big in this, so I'm gonna take my time with this one because there's a couple of things I want to cover here. So first off is that this fight is a huge fight, right? So the winner of this fight probably fights. So I was just reading about the chain of events for how we're going to go about like number one contender and who's going to be fighting for a lightweight belt. So the way it's looking right now is Poirier is going to fight sometime in June, and then Gaethje, the winner of the Gaethje-Holloway fight, is probably going to fight sometime in November at MSG, and then the winner, whoever wins this fight, will probably fight sometime after that, or somewhere if one of those other fights falls through, this fight's gonna take its place. So I'm a big Charles "Do Bronx" guy. I really like him. I don't like Arman Tsarukyan. I really don't like him, although seeing somebody new fight for the title would be exciting, and him and Islam Makhachev have some history there. They fought to a razor-close decision way back in the day, but I'd really
Arman's debut, no less. You have to remember that.
And I'd really like to see Do Bronx get a chance to run it back just because I really like the guy. a lot. He's a killer. He's a stone cold killer. Most finishes in UFC history, most submissions in UFC history. He's right up there. I think Jim Miller's right up there with him for most submission wins in UFC history. So, yeah, I really like Doe Bronx for this. I think he has a much more well-rounded skill set. There was a point in time where we had a whole bunch of really good Armenian fighters who were coming in. This is back in like 2006, 2007, old days of the UFC when we had Chuck Liddell, we had guys like Karo Parisian, we had a lot of other really good Armenian fighters in the mix. So nice to see Sarukian in there representing his people in that rich fighting culture of Armenia. But I just think Charles Oliveira is gonna. I have Charles Oliveira winning this fight by submission. I think on the feet, it might be a little hard for him to mix it up. He does have knockout power, but I think Sarukian might have a little bit of an edge when it comes to the power on the feet. So I think the way Charles Oliveira wins this is on the ground. He's gone up against devastating strikers before, like Gaethje and Poirier, and he submitted them both. So I really don't think this is going to be any different. And I got my man Doe Bronx with the win by submission. So that's what I'm taking for this one.
Whew. Do Bronx by sub. I'm gonna have to look those odds up real quick. Do Bronx by sub is 5-1 there, folks, plus 500. Money Mansman, where are you going on this one?
Yeah, this is tough. It seems like, from what I gather, this is like everybody's trendy underdog pick of the card, and it makes sense because Charles Oliveira is no joke, and I don't know if he should be like a plus, whatever he is, plus 180 now. That's kind of crazy. I mean, yeah, I think what Sam said, like the well-roundedness, like how many times has Oliveira taken a big shot, been knocked out, and then gets a submission? Like, that's just my biggest fear in this fight is like, does Sarukian get a big shot, Oliveira gets wobbled, and then he gets the sub. So yeah, this is a tough fight. I'm looking forward to watching this one, but I think the sharps have been all over Oliveira. The number seems wrong. I think Oliveira is probably the more well-rounded of the two. I'm going to go with the guy with championship pedigree. I'm going to have to go with Oliveira here.
Gotcha. This is like my second to least confident pick here in terms of like of all the fights on including prelims. I am also going Charles Oliveira though. I just think this is one of the few men in the UFC you never count out. You never make this guy the underdog because he tends to make you pay. Albeit it's like every 2 out of 3 where that happens, and he's kind of due, which is a bit scary. But looking at Arman Sarukian, my issue here is you look at the resume, which is really what it really is the make or break for me. The knockout with Benel Dariush between him and Charles Oliveira, that puts him at equal ground. But you look at the last 4 he fought for Sarukian: Joaquim Silva, Damir Ismagulov, Mateusz Gamrot, which he lost, by the way, in a decision, Joel Alvarez. Like, no offense to Arman Sarukian, he's had a hell of a UFC career already as it is. He's a young guy. I actually do believe Sarukian will be a future champion one day. It's just not right now.
Yeah.
Oliveira has lost to only Islam Makhachev.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's it. Like, you lost to a championship caliber guy. You've only fought championship caliber. You know, you knocked the fuck out. Like, well, not knocked the fuck out, but you put Michael Chandler on his ass more than once in that fight.
He did knock him out.
Well, he got the knockout win, technically, but if you actually watch the video, like, Chandler was trying to run away and he just had to cover up. Like, it was really
got clipped.
Yeah. But now Dariush, same situation. He didn't get knocked out cold, but he got clipped and he had to go to the ground and cover up. Got blasted. That's the thing with Charles Oliveira that I think people are just missing here in terms of the odds, like Armin Sarukian's really good, but he's gonna have to be on his A game here. And if Sarukian is on his A game here, and so is Oliveira, this is a pick'em fight. This isn't a plus 180 versus minus 200 guy. And kind of just in the gambling sense, where you look at the odds and you're playing like this number is much more of an advantage. That's my angle here with Charles Oliveira. Like, you're getting a much better advantage at plus 180 with a former champion who's knocked out other former champions versus, no offense, Armin Sarukian. Like, I think that split decision with Islam Makhachev is like a lot. It's very much overblown in the sense, like, it was short notice, but it was short notice for him too. And it's two big wrestlers where, no offense, but Makhachev hasn't really had another guy who could expose that weakness, which is if there's someone of equal wrestling caliber, he's gonna have problems.
Yeah. I don't think I just think Sarukian's kind of a one-dimensional fighter. Like, he can strike, and that's really about it. Like, his wrestling, like, he has decent wrestling, don't get me wrong, but it's not like world class. It's not like he's a Dagestani, you know what I mean? It's not like he's like a world.
You know what? Let me put it to you in this perspective. So I brought up the last 5 fights, but let me brought up the fight before that. 2021 January, he went up against Matt Frivola.
Right.
He was a minus 700 favorite. He not only came in overweight, the fucking fat ass, fucking missed it by a pound. Missed it by a pound. He went to decision against a Matt Frivola.
Right.
And we're just going to take him as a big favorite here against Dubronx. Like, kiss my ass. Get the fuck out of here.
Doesn't
miss me with that noise. Like, not happening.
Let me make a case for Sarukian, though. One thing that kind of worries me. Oliveira has been through the ringer against really good fighters, and I've given this handicap before, especially with Oliveira, who we know gets rocked a lot. Does he have too much mileage on the tires? Like, is his body gonna hold up if he gets clipped again? I mean, that's my only fear.
Yeah, I agree. I think the way that Armin wins it is he exposes his chin. But other than that, like, I don't know. I just don't see another way for him to possibly win the fight other than getting that big, it's probably going to be a big right hook, if anything, that takes out Charles Oliveira. But again, Charles Oliveira has a special skill, and his skill is that he can recover like super.
Yeah.
So, like, you rock him, and then he just goes into, like, I don't know what it is. He goes into, like,
survival.
Like, 90 cents start tingling, and then he's like, oh, lock in the submission while I'm in freaking CTE mode, like, whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. But, okay, so far we're all in lockstep. No dissent yet here at the Distinguished Degents podcast here. We only got 3 fights left, but this one I know we're definitely going to have to debate here. But it is a lightweight bout once again. But this is for the bad motherfucker title. Currently held by none other than Justin, the Highlight Gaethje, 25-4 record, a minus 155 favorite here. Going up against none other than a fan favorite, Max Blessed Holloway, returning to the lightweight division. He is a 25-7 record holder, plus 130 underdog. 21-7 in the UFC. Gaethje is 8-4. Both of them over 10 knockouts in their career. Holloway with 11. Gaethje with 19 under his belt. Over/under set at 4.5. Last fight, Gaethje did get that BMF title with a head kick against Dustin Poirier.
Beautiful.
Max Holloway, 3rd round knockout against the Korean Zombie. R.I.P. Korean Zombie.
Yeah, Rip Zombie.
Rip Zombie, nothing but love. Went out on a shield, and listen, folks, the fucking GOAT went out swinging, and there was nothing wrong with the way that happened. And if you want to have a moment to cry, if you want to have a moment of silence, Korean Zombie last fight with Max Holloway. It was the most
Korean Zombie.
you could ever
He lives
see.
in our hearts forever. Might be retired, but we
Amen.
never forget him.
Amen. Gaethje 2-2 is a betting favorite. Max Holloway though 3-6 as an underdog. 2 of those against Volkanovski. All right, I guess it's my turn to go, and you know, I'm betting with my heart. Dog of the card. We're going with Holloway. I just don't think Gaethje is as good as we make him out to be. I'm going to be honest here, guys. Like, I love Gaethje in the sense that, like, he's a gatekeeper. But come on, it's a joke title. This is a WWE type title. And he got a really good leg knockout against Poirier, but I think you can make the argument that, you know, Poirier might have won. He might have come close to winning that first round. Maybe. But, Gaethje in these big moments against these tough motherfucking fighters, he tends to choke. Khabib Nurmagomedov, he fucking got choked out. When he had the second title shot against Charles Oliveira, he fucking got rocked. He got choked out too. He's going up against a Max Holloway who's going to be taller. He's going to have the reach advantage. And no offense, like, I understand, like, there's a betting angle where it's like Holloway moving up in weight. Like, him at lightweight isn't the same as him at featherweight. But, like, no offense, he went up against a guy like Poirier who could keep up with his wrestling and his striking. You know Holloway's not trying to wrestle here. This is going to be 5 pure rounds of fucking standing up. And I saw what happened with Gaethje and Chandler, and no offense, but Max Holloway's on a different level than fucking Michael Chandler. And if the fight goes the way I think it is, which is it's going to stay on the feet, Gaethje's going to try and make a spectacle of it. He wants to be the bad motherfucker. He wants to knock him out. You're not knocking out Max Holloway anytime soon. If anything, he's fucking clipping you. And I dare you to say, like, go watch that Korean Zombie fight and, like, say what you will about Korean Zombie. Like, if you want to say the worst of him, which if you do, all 3 of us here are finding out where you live. We're jumping you. But how dare you disrespect Korean Zombie? Korean Zombie went at him full force and had him a couple times. Like, there were moments where you were like, oh shit, is this prime Korean Zombie? Which truly I thought it was. But Max with the combo and with the fucking counter strike is just too much of a dangerous weapon for me to bet against. I just don't see Gaethje winning a standing out battle against a fucking Max Holloway. And especially, too, Gaethje, he's 1-1 against Poirier. So, I don't know. Like, and not to, like I said, like, you look at Gaethje's resume, you look at Holloway's resume. Holloway's always been a killer. He's literally arguably the best boxer in the UFC. Arguably the best boxer. He could outstrike Gaethje. He may not hit him as hard, but he can outstrike him. He can counter him better. And to get Holloway as a dog, too much to refuse. Dog of the card, give me Holloway.
Wow.
Mansman, I hear some dissent. Let's see what you got.
This is a tough one because I feel like it's a bet with my heart as well. But yeah, I'm going Max Holloway too, man. Like, what? I feel like it's gonna be.
Wow.
I feel like it's gonna be.
Let's go.
Wow.
I feel like it's gonna be a stand-up fight, and I feel like Holloway could just like out-volume him. Like, I know Gaethje at this point probably has more power. Like, from what I've heard, that's sort of been the argument. Like, is it going to be Holloway's technique or is it going to be like Gaethje's power? I don't know, man. I don't know. I hate to bet against Holloway. Like, other than, let's be honest, other than sort of Volkanovski, like, Holloway's been through the who's who of the UFC. Like, I don't know, man. Like, him as a dog in this fight, I'm not a big Gaethje guy, to tell you the truth. He doesn't overly impress me really at all. And then, like, what I think is going to be a stand-up battle, like, yeah, I'd pick Holloway in that, especially getting plus money. So, I gotta endorse my co-host dog pick here. I'll go Holloway. Tough
Let's
one,
go.
though. Tough.
Let's
Scary.
go.
All right.
It's scary, but it's a 3-unit play. I'm doing a 3-unit play on Holloway, and I'm scared shitless. Like,
He's got the
I know what I'm
stats to
getting.
do it. That's why he's big bucks.
I'm getting into, but no, like I'll be honest, like like Gage's a fucking killer too in his respect, but every time it's been the big moment, every time it's been the next level up, he chokes. I don't want to bet on that guy. I would rather bet on a Holloway who I know could fucking no look in the camera and just outstrike his opponent. I mean, remember what he did to Calvin Kattar? Remember what he did to fucking Arnold Allen?
Mm.
You know, like he made jokes of them.
Man. Holloway,
and that's in his old age. That's forgetting his younger age when he fucking pieced up Jose Aldo like it was nothing.
Right.
You know, and all respect to Gagey, but like, what did he get in his last 5? You look at it. Dustin Poirier, he got that head kick, like I mentioned. Rafael Fiziev, which I thought was wrong odds to begin with too, and I won money on Gagey in that fight because Gagey was an underdog there. Fiziev was undefeated, I think, at the time, but it was like Fiziev hadn't fought in him. He lost to Oliveira. He lost to Khabib. He went 3 rounds with Chandler in, like, arguably one of the best fights of the year at that time in 2021. But, you know, Tony Ferguson, Donald Cerrone, Edson Barboza, like, this is the bad motherfucker you present. Holloway deserves that title more than anyone, and I think this is the fight where he gets it.
Well, I'm coming to rain on your guys' parade because, first of all, Justin Gaethje is my man. I love the highlight very dearly. He's one of my favorite fighters in the UFC and has been for a long time. We got to put some respect on my man Justin Gaethje's name. Max Holloway, at this stage in his career, is a gatekeeper. I love Max Holloway. I agree with you guys. He has an amazing resume. He's fought everybody. But we're talking about a guy who got absolutely demolished the last time he went up against a real striker, fighting Alexander Volkanovski. So for me, Gaethje, his only problem in his career has been fighting grapplers. When he fights strikers, he can go toe-to-toe with any striker in the UFC. Holloway has the best. I agree with you that Holloway has some of the best boxing in the UFC. And I agree with you. Like, he has the record for the most significant strikes landed in the UFC and most significant strikes per minute or per round average in the UFC as well. Those statistics aren't something that we should take lightly, but I just don't see him going in there and being Justin Gaethje, who's a much more accomplished. I would say Justin Gaethje, like, okay, we're talking about Max Holloway as a former champion, but if we're going just for striking, I say Gaethje definitely has the power advantage, which we did discuss a little bit. So for me, I'm going with my man Justin Gaethje by knockout. He's fighting into his prime right now. We're saying Justin Gaethje, who's fighting in his prime right now, some of the best striking we've ever seen from him. In his fight against Fiziev, he put on a clinic, and then his fight against Dustin Poirier, that was just such a beautiful head kick knockout. I advise everybody to go back and watch that because it's a thing of art. But yeah, I just think that Gaethje gets the KO and he retains the title in this one. So that's what I'm going with.
So the Spaceman special, Justin Gaethje by knockout, plus 150 right now on FanDuel, folks. So make sure you get those bets in, and if you do win, you make sure you tag my man and give him the credit where credit's due.
Yeah,
we're 2-1 here, though. Oh, Jesus.
Spaceman's
all
broke.
right.
He needs your money.
Spaceman needs a cut.
He's learning already.
Spaceman's grifting.
Spaceman gotta stop talking that blasphemy, though. He's like, oh, don't put some respect on my man Gaethje, and then proceeded to take a dump on Holloway.
No, I love Max Holloway. Don't get me wrong. I absolutely love Max Holloway, but Justin the highlight Gaethje is called the highlight for a reason. Most performance bonuses in UFC history, and I think he's gonna come away with another one tomorrow night.
Oh boy,
300K,
right.
baby. 300K.
300K. Someone's getting three. I don't know.
You
Maybe
said
both
it.
of them
He's
get
the one that said
300K.
it. If you were listening to the press conference, someone was like double, and Gaethje goes 300. And then everyone's like 300,
Yeah.
300, 300. So
Yep.
you can thank Justin Gaethje, everyone, for your $300,000 performance.
How
bonus.
pissed is he going to be when he loses and gets knocked out, and Max Holloway gets
Oh,
300K
that
because
I
of
would
him?
be
see,
crazy.
the thing that's worse, I don't think Gaethje gets like flash knockout. I could literally see him getting just like pieced up for 5 rounds. Like I could see Holloway winning a decision where Gaethje gets his fucking face like bashed in for 5 rounds. I could
It's
100% see it.
possible. I'm not saying that Max Holloway can't win it. I'm just saying I'm taking my man Gaethje. So
Matt, you know what? I'll respect it for now.
I
We'll
respect you guys. Like it's a great.
Yeah.
Those are good. It can go either way.
We could have made this fight about Cody Brundage, but instead we did it with Justin Gaethje and Holloway. So you know
Well, to
what?
be
Like,
fair, yeah, I mean, there's 2 sides to that. There's no 2 sides to the Bo Nickel fight. There's only one way that's just ending.
Yeah.
exactly. All right, let's see if there's 2 sides to this one. It's the co-main event. Women's Strawweight Championship on the line. It's the battle for China. The champion, Weili Zhang, a.k.a. Zhang Weili, a.k.a. Magnum. 24-3 record, minus 485. Going up against the number 1 contender, Yan Xiaonan, a.k.a. nickname 9. 17-3 record, plus 370 on the money line. Both of them have an 8-2 UFC record. Zhang Weili has 19 finishes under her belt, 11 of them via knockout. Yan Xiaonan, 9 decision victories. Over-under is set at 3.5 rounds. Last fight, Zhang Weili is coming off a decision win against Amanda Lemos. Yan Xiaonan had a first-round knockout against Jessica Andrade, who is on the prelim cards. And betting trends, 3-1 as an underdog for Yan Xiaonan. She won her last 2 as an underdog. Zhang Weili, 7-2 as a favorite. She has won 3 straight. Spaceman, back to you with the women's co-main.
So I like.
Does the dog have a chance?
No. I like Zhang Weili a lot. I'm just gonna shoot it straight. I really like Zhang Weili. I've watched a lot of her fights. I feel the only downside I would say to her is that she doesn't really fight. She fights like maybe once a year, if that, once every couple of years. It seems like she's not a really active champion. And I would love to see her fight more because I think she has an excellent skill set. She can box. Her striking's really good. Her grappling is really good. She has excellent wrestling. She has good footwork. I really like her. And we're talking about Zhang Xiaonan that lost to Carla Esparza. So
we're going to get to that, Sam. We are going to get to that.
Let's be realistic here. Like, if anything, I think there's a big potential. I don't know if Zhang Weili gets the knockout. Like, if I were going to pick a fight to go to decision, it would be this one. But I really don't see I do see Zhang Weili getting the finish within the distance. Probably, I don't know if it's going to be a knockout. It's probably going to be a TKO if we're being completely honest. I see her winning this fight, taking it to the ground and pound. That's probably going to be the way that she wins this fight. But yeah, Yan Xiaonan, she's had some moments, but I don't see her being the champion. I don't see her realistically overthrowing Zhang Weili, who's fought, she's knocked out Joanna Jędrzejczyk, however you say her name. God,
You wanna Jedrick or whatever?
Jędrzejczyk. Yeah, there we go. We got it. We got it. But I mean, yeah, she knocked her out in her final fight. She busted her up the fight before that. They had that absolute war together. She's had some really memorable moments. I mean, she did get head kicked by Rose Namajunas. That was crazy. That was one of the nicest head kicks I've ever seen. Just that lead leg head kick. That was crazy.
Rose is really the only person she's like lost to, really.
Yeah. If you think about it. And so, I mean, I really think she's going to win this one by KO, specifically TKO. That's how I see this one going. Probably it might go 1-2 rounds, but by the third, I don't think this fight's going all 5.
So you got the under 3.5 here, which is valued at plus 1.5 or plus 105. Excuse me.
Hmm.
So, all right, Money Mansman. I see that I see that grin.
So, Yao Jana, what is her name again? Jana Yao?
Yan Xiaonan.
Yao Yan Janan. I want to make sure I say her name correctly while I completely destroy her existence. So she lost to Marina Rodriguez, who I believe we talked about
Yesterday.
We talked about her on the prelims.
And who did Marina Rodriguez lose to?
Carlos
Carlos Barza. Yao Janan, whatever the fuck her name is, she also lost to Carlos Barza.
She got destroyed.
No, it's worse. You got knocked out by Carlos Barza, and you're fighting for a title.
How? Make it make sense.
John Whaley, double chance finish, minus 125, mortgage bet, best bet of the year.
No fucking way. This is your mortgage bet.
By Carlos Barza. Why are you in UFC 300? What is Zhang Li submitted Carlos Barza, went in her wheelhouse and made her bitch, and you got knocked out by Carlos Barza. Yeah, this fight is over. Zhang Li will finish this fight, as Sam said. Here's your bet of the year. Zhang Wei, take it to the bank. You're welcome.
Wow.
You're welcome.
Got it.
Second dog. No, I'm fucking with you. I'm fucking with you. No. No, Zhang Weili's the only play. Mind you, this is like mid-tier confidence. Zhang Weili, my only concern with her is that she's had a lot of moments of vulnerability where, especially against Joanna Jędrzejczyk, I don't even know how the fuck against Joanna. We're just gonna say Joanna because I know I can say that.
Polish woman.
The Hall of Fame Polish girl. Let's give her some respect.
Yeah.
Against that Hall of Fame Polish fighter. She had a lot of moments of vulnerability against her. Rose Namajunas, ironically enough, has had moments of vulnerability where she's managed to take advantage of her. And it just seems like Zhang Weili, like, at times, doesn't show up. And it may be because she rarely makes an appearance once a year. It may be because her opponents she underestimates them. I really don't know. That's my only concern here with Jinan Yan. Like, my concern is, like, if you just underestimate her, like, no offense, like, I know you say, like, we're giving her shit. You lost to Marina Rodriguez. That was a split decision loss, though. And honestly, having rewatched that fight earlier, Marina Rodriguez was a huge favorite in that fight. John was a big underdog, and I would have argued she should have won that fight. You lost to Carla Esparza, sure, which we can all laugh and make jokes about, but I think Carla Esparza, like, that was just one of her better, if I could argue, maybe her best showing she ever made in the UFC. Like, that was just prime Carla Esparza that you're going to get, but that was just, like, the best fight she ever had.
Yeah.
So how much of that do I really want to hold against a Yan Xiaonan when, like, there's been other male fighters we talked about earlier that had worse losses that we haven't really given as much shit to. So I'm just trying to be fair here in that sense. And if you look at the other fighters, a lot of it was a unanimous decision, which, Yan Xiaonan, she loves to play the long game. She has no issue feeling her opponent out. The problem is, I just think Zhang Weili needs a lot less time to do that. Zhang Weili will look to get the finish. It's the Battle of China, for Christ's sakes. So
that's my only fear, because it's a Chinese opponent that she show respect.
And I think there is that case. And I don't think this ends by a knockout. Like, I think this is a correlated bet where, like, for Money Mansman here, I love your Zhang Wei Li by finish minus 125 mortgage bet. Like, I truly do. But you know what the correlated opposite of it is? If you like the other side, you take Yan Jianan by decision. Even better, you want to play the points on DraftKings, you could get Yan Jianan plus 5.5 at still plus 180.
Yeah,
and if I'm concerned this is going to go to decision, this isn't going to be unanimous. This is going to be Zhang Wei Li gets fucked up in a couple rounds. It's going to be back and forth, or it's going to be Zhang Wei Li like takes the advantage early, but like gasses out. So,
okay, let's be honest. In the UFC, there really are no mortgage bets. Like I was just playing around like that, but it really is my best like bet of the card. I mean, I can't like. I literally bet on a guy who knocked himself out on a takedown. So, you know, I mean,
yeah, I did too.
Truthfully, you have to be careful because you guys are 100% right. Zhang Wei Li fights once a year. She comes out flat, like she could lose. And I'm concerned about the Chinese respect factor. But really, like, when you look at it now, the UFC maybe not so much, but career, 18 out of 24 finishes. Like, Zhang Wei Li doesn't really... She's not just a fighter who's constantly going to decision.
Yeah, and
19 finishes, by the way.
See, here's the other thing. I don't think if it goes 5 rounds, I don't think Zhang Xiaonan has. She's never been in a 5-round fight. Zhang Wei Li only fights 5-round fights. Basically, she only fights 5-round fights. You know, for the majority of her career, that's all she's been fighting is 5-round fights. So she definitely has the stamina. She can go 5 rounds easy. I don't think she's going to gas at all. That's not really an issue. I think the issue is that, like you were saying, Steve, is that sometimes she can come out flat and, like, you know, she gets caught. Like in the Namajunas fight, she got caught because she wasn't really paying attention. She was playing, she was fooling around a little bit, and then Namajunas hit her with the head kick out of nowhere and put her to sleep. So there's definitely some holes in her game, but I think she's going to come in her best form because, again, like we were talking about, she only really fights like maybe once a year, once every couple of years for the past few years, you know. So she's going to want to make it count. She's not going to want to screw around and waste her opportunity here, especially on a card like UFC 300.
It looks like to me it's every 4 to 6 months she gets on a card. So, like, I think we give.
It feels
it's
like
not
it's
nearly as bad. So, yeah, 2021, she was on 2 cards. 2022, she was on 2 cards. 2023, it was just the one with Amanda Lemos. No, that was August of 2023. So, yeah, you know, say what you will. It's like, it does seem like a long gap compared to other fighters. And at the end of the day, like, at least Yan Jianan, like, that's a name I've seen more often. You know, if you really want to be technical.
Jianan actually has had a longer layoff. Been almost a year since she swapped.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a crazy thing. I don't know. Like, if I'm like, it's one of those things. Like, it's a no money line bet. You're either playing Mansman's angle, which is Zhang Wei Li by finish, or I'm playing the points with Yan Jianan plus 5.5 because what's gonna like it depends on what angle you want to take here, guys. So, for me, I'd rather if I'm gonna lose my money, I'll lose my money on Zhang Wei Li. No problems there. So. I endorse the Mansman best bet. Maybe me and him can get together to do the mortgage bet. We'll see. All right. Spaceman, I think your best bet was Gaethje by knockout.
Yeah.
I've given out all my best picks, but we have yet to talk about the main event.
Let's do it.
So, let's do it. It is the light heavyweight championship on the line. The champion, Alex Poton Pereira. Finally going up against it's Jamal Sweet Dreams.
Yeah.
The number 1 contender. Okay. Yeah, this is, you know what? Let me stop right here. I need to take a minute. On paper, specifically on paper, if you look at either of these guys' fights, mad respect to them. On paper, your UFC 300 main event is a guy who is 9-2 against a guy who is 12-1, 1 no contest. The women's number 1 contender in the fight before. And the champion. The champion has more fights combined than either of these fighters together. Are you shitting me?
Bro.
This is the best you could come up with, Dana. Are you serious?
Find no fault with
He's
I'm
lucky.
excited for this fight. This is the fight to make.
I'm excited, but like, come on, like really, Alex Pereira. This is the best you could do. Jamal Hill. This was your main event. Talk about disappointment. Like,
I think
really,
a great fight, but
why is this the main event? Why is this the main event? Let's be honest.
Anybody else? I would. You know who I would have liked to see? I think we're all going to agree. We have all loved to see John Jones as the headliner for UFC 300 versus Stipe Miocic.
Oh, John Jones! I would have seen John Cena. John Cena would have been more entertaining.
Isn't John Jones getting arrested again or some shit?
Yeah, John.
No.
Yeah, he did.
He wasn't arrested.
Didn't he?
Under investigation. So this fucking guy. I hate John Jones.
Didn't he
Let's get Jamal Sweet Dreams Hill. Let's main event 300 with Jamal Hill. Yeah, that makes sense, Dana.
At least he's not in legal trouble.
Yeah, at least he's not a criminal like John Jones is.
All right, let's keep it moving. Jamal Hill's a plus 110 underdog. Potan minus 130 favorite. 6-1 UFC record. Jamal Hill 6-1 as well, but he is 1-0 in the Dana White's Contender Series. He also has 1 no contest in the UFC. Both of them have 7 knockouts under their belt. The over/under is set at 1.5 rounds. Last fight, Jamal Hill is coming off a decision win against Pereira's coach, Glover Teixeira. Pereira is coming off a championship win with a second-round TKO against Yuri Prochazka. Pereira is 5-0 as a betting favorite. Sweet Dreams, 1-0 as an underdog. He's only been a dog 1 time. This is the second time ever.
I'm just looking at stats right now.
So I'll say this, and it's a correlated bet, but I've done this before, and it's paid off well, but, actually, I don't know if I could do that. Here's the bet. Here's what I would do if I was a bettor. Pereira money line, Jamal Hill plus 5.5. I would try to double.
Oh, that's bold. That's bold.
For some reason, Jamal Hill, you could never count the guy out. Jamal Hill, just for some reason, is at this skill level where he has just not only been able to keep up with the competition faced in front of him, he's been fucking people up.
Yeah, fact.
Now, him coming off the injury is what scares me the most.
Right.
Yeah.
Him beating up Glover Teixeira, and when I say beating up, he literally could have gotten arrested for elder abuse. The way he treated Glover.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
It was bad.
It wasn't even close.
No, and Jamal Hill winning the championship that by beating up an old Brazilian, like it's concerning. But it's also,
Is he the Brazil killer? You got he might be. Like, he really might be. If he beats Poatan, then I think we can officially say that no Brazilian stands a chance against Sweet Dreams Hill.
But Sweet Dreams, the problem is, Glover Teixeira was his best fight.
For sure.
He didn't fight a Yuri. He didn't fight a Jan Blachowicz. He beat up tomato cans and then got a chance with Glover Teixeira out of nowhere. And then made the most advantage out of beating up an old man. And all of a sudden, it's like, why is this a dead even fight with Alex Pereira, who, let's be honest, is the way better professional, the guy who has the fucking resume. And it's like, well, no offense, but if you watch Jamal Hill, it's so unconventional. It doesn't make sense how he's as good as he is, but it's just every time you watch him, it's like, wow, this guy truly belongs. Out of the two, which way do I lean more? Pereira. I mean, like, I'm not gonna fuck around and find out. Like, Pereira, if anything, is gonna try and knock this dude's lights out. I mean, Jamal Hill, all press conference, literally was just calling him a stone face and was just like, if you watch, he did an interview with Mighty Mouse, Demetrius Johnson, and Demetrius is like, so what's your? See, he was like, what's your game plan? Like, what are you going to do? And Jamal Hill's like, oh, I see a finish. I see me knocking his lights out. And Demetrius starts laughing at him like, okay, that's funny. Like, what's the real game plan? Jamal Hill's like, oh, no, like, I'm knocking this guy out.
Yeah, Jamal, I see a finish, Jamal. I see a finish.
And it's just like, you sit back and you're like, is this guy serious? And then all of a sudden you're like, well, you think about it, he kind of has to be. How else are you going to beat Poton? You're not beating him on the ground. You're probably not beating him.
I mean, that's where I want to beat him on the ground.
I mean, Jamal Hill doesn't take people to the ground. That's the thing. Like, yeah. I think he has a better game than Poetan, but does he take him to the ground? Probably not, because he doesn't take people down. He just stands and bangs. No Diddy.
Yeah.
No Diddy. No, my concern is like you saw the Poton versus Sean Strickland, and Strickland with that Philly shell stance. Like, you could, if you're an Alex Poton Pereira, you could fight through the Philly shell easily. Jamal Hill, it just seems like, is so unconventional and is just so out there. Is someone like Alex Pereira going to be able to handle it? Or is he going to like get pieced up out of nowhere and he has to reset, and then that reset turns into going into round 2, and then round 2 turns into round 3, and all of a sudden it's round 4 and you're like, oh shit, I'm down 2-1. Maybe shoot a takedown, but then nothing happens. You know what I mean? Like, I could see this surprisingly going to a decision if Jamal Hill holds his own ground.
Well, the leg injury is scary because, I mean, does he get leg kicked and does his fucking ACL snap? I mean,
yeah.
We know Pereira has howitzers for legs. Like, that would not surprise me either.
So, Mansman, I'm assuming you're going with Pereira here, but give us your thoughts.
Yeah, I think Jamal Hill is going to live up to his nickname, Sweet Dreams. I think he's going to pull a Mansman and be passed out by the end of the night. I think, unfortunately, I think Hill's going to sleep. I just think, I mean, again, this dude was knocking out like Strickland and Adesanya at middleweight, bro. And now, like, this guy gets to fight in his natural weight class. We were talking about it yesterday, like the power he has. I just think standing and banging with this guy is not conducive to good health. And then you got Hill coming off the injury. Like, it's just a bad spot. And I think Sweet Dreams is, he said he saw a finish in his future. Yeah, I think there's going to be a finish. I think he's getting slapped.
Gotcha.
So, I am really split on this fight. I think it's going to be a knockout either way. I just don't know who's going to get knocked out because Jamal Hill has the power. He has the submission game, which is he going to use it? I don't really know. And the secret, guys, you got to remember that Jamal Hill's been training with Israel Adesanya. So he's going to have some tricks up his sleeve because he's getting insight from Israel Adesanya, who's fought Poetan 4 times. You know, he's fought 3.
Yeah, 1 and 3 is he?
1 and 3, right? So,
hey, you won.
2 of those fights were close.
That's fair.
2 of those fights were close. But I don't know. That being said, it's a difference between Adesanya fighting and Jamal Hill fighting. They have 2 very different styles of fighting. Jamal Hill is not a world-class kickboxer that Israel Adesanya is. He's Detroit's own Jamal Hill. So I think it's going to be a rough fight for him. I love Poetan. I've always said that Poetan is going to be a champion, a 2-division champion. I still believe that there's a lot of potential for him to move back down to middleweight and take that belt as well and be a simultaneous two-division champion. I really like Poatan. He's one of my favorite fighters out there right now. I think he gets the knockout, but I'm not counting Jamal Hill out. So there is a very high, you all heard it here, there's a very high possibility that Jamal Hill gets the knockout within the distance. But I'm going to go with my man Poatan. I'm going with my man Poatan for the knockout just because guy, his hands of stone and he's a stone cold killer. So we'll see. But I don't think it's going to be like this big blowout fight that we think it's going. I don't think he's just going to smoke him. I think it's going to be a lot more competitive than we think. But it's really going to depend on how Jamal Hill uses his range. Jamal Hill's a tall, lanky fighter. I think they're both 6'4", if I'm not mistaken. So they're both tall. They both have long reach. I think that Poatan's going to try to get the early start with the kicking game, and we'll see how Jamal Hill's legs hold up. If they can hold up through the kicking game, he might have more of a chance, but I got to go with my man Poatan to take home the title and avenge the loss from Glover Teixeira. Finish the story, as we would say.
Oh, God damn it, Sam.
Finish the story.
Finish the story. You know what? Just for that, give me Jamal Hill plus 5.5. Just for that. So both of them are 6'4". They both have the same reach, and there's a slight leg reach advantage for Pereira by half inch. So they're both actually pretty comparable size-wise.
Yeah.
Finish the story.
Yes.
Finish the story. Avenge Glover.
Finish the story. Avenge Glover.
Yeah, here's the difference. Undertaker's not going to come out and choke slam someone.
Israel Adesanya isn't going to come out of the woodwork and he's not.
Izzy's not popping out to like spin leg kick Pereira or Glover. Like,
that'd be so funny. I want to see Izzy in Jamal Hill's corner. I might live bet Jamal Hill if I see that. That'd be funny.
If Izzy's in Jamal Hill's corner, I will change my bet to Jamal Hill by knockout.
All right, we got the notice there. Money Mansman, you're going with Pereira. I'm going with Pereira as well. Spaceman is a contingent Pereira pick unless Izzy walks in that corner. Then.
No, that's funny.
All right. That's it, guys. We got all the fucking fights through. We are going into UFC 300 with all of our picks. We are all unanimous on Bo Nickel. All three of us, I believe, are on Charles DuBronx. Me and Money Mansman are on Max Holloway. Sam's best bet was Justin Gaethje. My dog pick was Max Holloway. Best bet was Bo Nickel first round submission. I missed that earlier. Co-main, we're all on Zhang Wei Li, but we're all some of us are hesitant than others. But this is Mansman's best bet. He's going Zhang Wei Li by finish. And finally, all three of us currently on Poatan, Alex Pereira to win, but contingent for Spaceman Sam. Final thoughts, gentlemen. Sam, take us out.
Beautiful. This was a good time, guys. It's nice to be back. I think we had some great analysis, and I'm really looking forward to getting together with you. And hopefully we can all get together and watch this pay-per-view together, this historic pay-per-view together. But I really think the fans, I think you guys out there watching us tonight are really in for a great event. I mean, it grew on me at the beginning. I was like, this sucks. I was like, what the heck is Uncle Danny doing? Like, this is trash. But the closer we got into the event, the more excited I've been getting for it. And I can just feel the excitement. Tomorrow's the big day. So grab some friends, get some pizza, do what you do. Enjoy the event. It's going to be fireworks all night long. So let's all lock in for this historic event and really just enjoy. This is going to be a great show. So I'm excited. And we get Bruce Buffer. And I think we're going to get Joe Rogan. So we'll probably get the A team with Daniel Cormier, Joe Rogan, and Michael Bisping. And
what could go wrong?
All right. We got Bruce Buffer. Like, we're here, baby. It's time. UFC 300's here. So let's rock and roll.
Money Mansman, final thoughts before we sign out.
I'm with Sam. Look, whatever sort of the shortcomings of the cards are, like, we're a day away. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. Like, honestly, it's been a while since I've really been excited for like a UFC pay-per-view and to like get together and just have a good time. Like, I'm hyped. I think the fights are going to be good. They're going for the 300K, so I'm expecting to see some fireworks. So I'm looking forward to it.
I'm with you, boys. I'm more than hyped. I'm praying. The basement could be in some sort of shape to be ready to host for this fucking major event. I don't want to miss it. I don't want to be alone for this. I don't want to not have you guys around. So we're holding out hope. Maybe we could do some crazy live event. We'll see what happens. But we got all of our picks. Hopefully we have all our bets out. Let's end it with this. Do we have any crazy prop bets? Do we have any out there predictions that we want to throw out there?
Round one. No, I'm kidding.
But there you go, Cody Brundage, round one knockout. Like honestly,
maybe Bo Nickel twists his ankle and
Bo Nickel knocks himself out on a takedown.
Oh my god, that'd be funny as shit.
I got a 3-leg parlay to give out. It's currently 19-1. And it's a prelim parlay. It's Yuri first round knockout, Davidson Figueiredo by finish, and Sadiq Youssef. 19-1 3-leg parlay.
Ooh. Dang.
I had another 3-leg parlay, but I wanted to give Mansman an opportunity first before I throw that out there. So, Mansman, any crazy plays that you've thrown out there yet?
Well, I'm going to be playing probably my round robins. I think I'm probably going to have like 3 round robins up, so that'll be fun. In terms of I'm trying to think of like just all card. No, I'll pass because I'm really going to need to look to see because I have some favorites. So I don't, but I'll have my round robins up and I'll be sure to post them to the Twitter or the X.
Right on.
The contract.
I'll leave it with this: Charles Oliveira, Max Holloway money line, Alex Pereira by knockout, 13-1.
Jesus Christ! Woo!
That's crazy. That's
live.
Oh, and I have a 7-leg round robin. All of the following underdogs: Marina Rodriguez, Jim Miller. Or sorry, not all underdogs, but Alex Pereira, Max Holloway, Charles Oliveira, Yuri Prohashka, and I know I'm missing one, but there's a 7th underdog.
Yuri Prohashka is my dog of the card. Don't know why.
Let's fucking go.
Stupid AF, but whatever. Well, I think the odds makers are on crack for this one, but who knows? They're usually pretty spot on.
Sadiq Youssef was my 7th. Excuse me. All 7 in a round robin. I got it in 3s and 4s. Looking at 2K.
There you go. Dream.
All right, it's we're about an hour and a half in, close. I got no other words, guys. Thank you both for joining me. Money Man's been always a pleasure. Spaceman, thank you for joining us for the UFC show. It's always a pleasure having you.
Love you guys.
I am Steve. Big Bucks Beta.
Money Man's man.
Spaceman Sam.
And as
we are signing off. Go win that motherfucking money, Degents. Have a good night.